You're listening to the ASOTU CON Sessions by Effectv, recorded live in Philly.
All right, so we're sitting here at ASOTU CON 2022. It's the inaugural ASOTU CON. This is ASOTU CON Sessions, powered by Effectv. Of course, I am joined by Michelle and Ashley from Effectv. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks you for having us. It's great to be here.
Okay, so we got to dig in one at a time. I've learned you're from Denver.
Yes.
Learned there's good food in Denver. There's a lot of Subarus in Denver.
A lot of Subarus.
A lot of big dogs in Denver. So this tells me Effectv's kind of spread out across the country. Give me the scope. If I remember correctly, you've migrated from one type of you're in TV advertising and things of that nature.
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Go ahead.
So Effectv is the advertising part of Comcast, and so we are across several markets across the U.S. Michelle, I don't know if you want to fill in about kind of your supporting role, as Michelle gets to see all of our markets across the country.
Yeah, I sit in kind of a headquarter role, so we span over 60 markets across the footprint doing video advertising, so cross-screen, audience-focused video advertising, including cable TV, but also your OTT streaming products as well.
Cool.
And from an automotive perspective, we have one of our very only verticalized kind of categories is automotive. So we have over 150 automotive account executives and strategists who work solely on the category for, across all tiers, but really heavily in local dealer business across the U.S.
You know what I love about this? So if you look at the progression of media, we went through a phase where it was like, oh, traditional, you're never going to be able to figure that one out. It's dead. And if you look at the history of how media has progressed, I mean, TV was supposed to kill the radio. Theater was supposed to kill newsprint. Radio was supposed to kill theater. TV was supposed to kill the radio. The internet was supposed to kill them all. Yet here we are in 2022 proving through platforms like Effectv that, nay, you can actually modernize this traditional model, what dealers and the industry has largely said is a traditional model. What does that look like? I'm imagining you're able to see so much more data than we could in the past.
Yes, I mean, we are able to take our first-party household data and we are able to then help our dealer partners target whoever they're trying to speak to, whatever that potential customer is, and what that need that we're trying to solve for the dealers. So for example, if they're trying to educate, as we talk about consumer experience, meeting the dealer experience, and they're trying to tell their story about pre-order and what that process looks like, we're able to help them take that message and then figure out, hey, what are these geographies in and around your dealership that you want, to get this message out to, and who is that potential buyer that you're trying to bring into your dealership. And so we're able to help them target across that blurred of all screens, because it's reaching that, like a dealership. Some people do want to transact online, but many want that in-person experience. And we see within, the multiple screens, some people are still watching on the big screen. They want everyone over to their home. They want to watch the game. And then some want to pop on their screen, on their phone. And we are able to, with all of our partnerships, get them in front of whatever screen they're viewing on, where it doesn't matter, how or where they're watching. It's just meeting them where they are and helping kind of align that customer experience as it's evolved, and making sure that they can watch the content they want when they're ready.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and I'll say that to answer your kind of data piece of the question, like the evolution of what's happened in the TV space from the consumer side of things, right? It's like, you are accessing your content through so many different sources now. It's this I got a subscription here, I use it on my phone, my tablet, my kids, stream it in the car. It's all over the place. And what Comcast is really leading the way doing is helping to bring that consumer experience together in this converged TV environment. So within our with our Xfinity platform, you can access your Amazon app, your YouTube app, your HBO Max, your Roku device, all through the platform, which is unifying the way the consumer can access it all through a single point. And so what we're trying to do at Effectv is say, okay, how can we make that easier for advertisers to activate on and to measure against? So instead of having to buy your cable TV, your OTT, your streaming through different vendors, where then you have no unification across audiences, across measurement. How do I know who I reached when? How many times are they being reached? What's the behavior they took because of that? You can tell that for your one campaign with one vendor, but we're able to unify it because we have household level data, because we have this platform that's from a consumer side unifying all of it. So that's what we're really focused on at Effectv, is saying like, okay, how across all screens and platforms can we provide advertisers richer data in a unified experience?
So let me ask you this. What's from your vantage point, what's the best use for screen advertising? Is it, you know, because like we always want that one-to-one. Oh, they must see ad, they must submit lead. Of course, we know there's a larger mixed media model that's
Correct.
happening. So from your vantage point, what's where would you condition an advertiser to think like, hey, this is going to be the best type of messaging or, visuals? Like what do you recommend to that regard?
I mean, I think looking at it much more holistically. So like we heard in some of the sessions earlier today of like, your dealership is really multiple businesses, right? You've got fixed ops, you've got new, you've got used, you've got service, you've trade-in and vehicle acquisition. Like there's so many things that from a dealership you're thinking about, and the consumer needs to understand that too, right? Like the consumer shouldn't just think of your dealership for a new car sale. So like when you're thinking of your advertising, how is that mirroring what you want, the like behaviors and actions you want consumers to take and what you want them to know about you? And I think we know the power of video creates better recall, better recognition. So I think kind of thinking about it instead of just like, okay, lower funnel, price payment, we want them to be looking at this model at this time and come in this weekend. Like we need to think more holistically to say like, how are we educating consumers on the full dealership experience, everything we offer, all of the different business centers that are driving profit for the dealership. Like we should be thinking of our advertising in the same way to drive like that lifetime value of a customer throughout all of your different dealership profit centers.
So good. I love it. Well, Michelle, Ashley, thank you so much for joining me today. I love it. Everybody should definitely be checking out Effectv because it sounds super cool and it's such a brilliant way to get your brand and your brand voice and build relationships with customers. So on behalf of myself, Michael Cirillo, and on behalf of ASOTU CON Sessions, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here. Have a good couple days.
Yes, it's going to be fun.